Hello, it's the Randy Duck and welcome back for another video, and today I have two replays featuring the Tier 8 PREF Tier 8 French heavy tank, the FCM 50T Liberté. That's right, this tank has preferable matchmaking, so you'll only ever see up to Tier 9s, so basically you will only see +1 above your matchmaking at any time. If you want to see the equipment and crew setup I'm using this tank, you'll be able to see it at the bottom of the screen as I speak. But the first replay we have for you today, we are top tier. There's two enemy artilleries and we are on the cliff. So we're initially going to push up into this position here using the good mobility this heavy tank has. Honestly, this tank is probably one of the best pref matchmaking tanks there is. It's kind of disgusting. It has fantastic mobility. The Armour has actually had quite a lot of buffs, and you can actually bounce quite a lot of shots off this tank when you're side scraping. And the DPM is just fantastic. So overall, it's not a lot this tank. It's not a lot this tank can't do. You know, you've got 10 degrees of gun depression as well. And I think it's almost like a heavy medium in the fact that the mobility you have in this tank, you have medium-like mobility. There's some medium tanks which are not as quick as this tank. So we're in a good situation at the moment where we've taken middle control, but we don't really have anything who's sort of gone into the bowl area on the left-hand side. So that is something we need to just be aware of. If enemy tanks start trying to pop up down the other side on our left, they may be able to get shots into us, and we might have to just sort of potentially relocate. Also, there's two enemy artilleries, two fun police in the sky, so we've got to be a little bit careful of those. I don't want to be focused on getting focused at by those tanks. As you can see, a shot just come in from one of the enemy artilleries as I speak. So I've opted to try and push around and deal with these heavy tanks who are coming around on us behind, because I want to get safe from the enemy artillery and just use my DPM here to actually just bully this enemy IS-3. We track him in place here, we get another shot to try and retrack him, and we're going to be able to take care of this enemy IS-3 in no time at all. You have a 240 alpha on this tank, and to be honest with you, the reason it had pref matchmaking the first time, because it used to have low penetration, it doesn't have that now. You've got good penetration. You've got 212 on your standard rounds with 240 alpha. On your premium rounds, you have 259 APCR penetration. So yeah, this tank doesn't need pref matchmaking. It really doesn't. It's better than a lot of normal tier 8 heavy tanks, but it does have it, and that just means you're never having to fight tier 10, so it just becomes even better. Now, good start to this game. We picked up 1,500 damage and a bit of assistance damage as well, but it is still a even game at this point. It's a 12 versus 11, pretty even on the old hit point pool, and yeah, so we've got to be careful. This game's far from won. I opted not to continue that path with my friendly team, because I didn't want to get constantly shot at by the artillery, as you can see when we poke round that corner. So I've gone back to deal with the enemy heavy tanks which are pushing around, and now coming behind us, this enemy Oni here. We do actually damage his ammo rack, which is good. We're going to make his DPM horrendous, and that means we're going to try and just look how many shots we're putting in before this enemy Oni can actually fire upon us here. So we're absolutely just shredding through this tank, which we're trying to focus out as much as we can, because we actually are fighting we were fighting a 2v1, but our friendly team have started to turn around now. We should be able to finish off this Oni here. He does get a shot into us, but we're able to pick up the kill, putting us on to just shy of 3,000 damage. And now we've got this Tiger P, which we can try and bully here, getting shots through his drive wall to track him in place so he can't escape. And we're going to be able to pick up the kill here, and hopefully pick up our second kill of the game, but at least, if not, pick up some damage. And we don't get the second kill, but we do pick up 3,500 damage, 1,200 assistance. But again, it's still not won. It's 8 versus 7. It is still fairly even on the hit point pool. Actually, we have less hit points in the enemy team, despite having a tank advantage. So like I say, the game is definitely not won yet, and there's still one enemy artillery which we've got to be a little bit careful of. We're going to try and kill this tank destroyer though, which is in the open. You see the enemy artillery is immediately looking to shoot us. So like I say, the armour, your engine deck's quite weak, so if we do get hit by the artillery, it doesn't, take artillery shots too, very well. But it is actually quite a heavy tank, so it's actually pretty good at ramming tanks as well, just because of the speed you have for a heavy tank. Like I say, you've got top speed, top of 51 kilometres an hour, and it gets to that top speed quite nicely. So got an enemy heavy tank in front of us now we're going to try and deal with, but first we've got to deal with his enemy Mantis, which is not good because it's an auto-loader, which means he's going to dump his shots into us, and although he doesn't kill us, he gets killed by a friendly T-77, it's put us on 300 hit points, which is not ideal now because we're going to try and deal with this enemy heavy tank in front of us, but where before we could have just pushed straight into him, ate the shot and then just deleted him, now we've got to be careful that we don't get taken out. We do put him onto a one-shot to us, and we are going to try and close the distance. But remember, when we get spotted in this corner, that enemy front place, enemy artillery is probably going to be looking our way. I would be, because if he doesn't, I'm probably going to kill this tank and then go and look to try and close in on him and kill him. So I'm expecting the enemy artillery to try and get shots into us. There also might be tank destroyers potentially covering this tank as he's backing around this corner, so got to be very, very careful. Trying to get a shot in the kill. We do get a kill shot in, which confirms our second kill of the game, putting us on to 4,000 damage now with 2 kills. And we're trying to back up. You can see the enemy artillery was still looking to shoot us here, and we were going to try and turn around and go back around the other side. We didn't want to get shot at by the artillery. As that happens though, unfortunately enemy medium tanks coming around onto us, which is not good because he does have, medium tank destroyer I should say, he does have the hit point advantage. Unfortunately we bounced that shot. I was looking to try and get that shot in because I'm a potential one shot to this tank, so I've got to be very, very careful here. This is not ideal, but I'm hoping that if he comes around I'll get a shot into the drive wheel to try and track him in place. We put him into one shot, but he actually bounces off of us, which is great. Now I know I have to kill. Thankfully we get that bounce, which I think we deserved, but otherwise we might have lost our tank there. But we do get 5,000 damage, 1,200 assistance. We're just waiting for our spot to disappear before we move, but the artillery does actually try and blind fire us. Good thinking from the enemy artillery player. Thankfully for us, it doesn't pay off for him, and now we're trying to make our advance to see if we can find this artillery, who I can only imagine is sitting in the A12 sort of area, and yeah, it's just now we're going to win this game. It's just about, can we get there, can we get any more damage in, and just get another shot of damage, which would be nice, but it's not going to happen. It gets deleted by our auto-loaded demolisher. And that brings us then to replay number 1. And we finished that game off strongly with 3 kills, 5,000 damage, 1,200 assistance, the ace tanker and the high caliber. But let's move on to the final replay of the video. Okay, so here we are for the final replay on Raseiniai, where it is actually the assault variant. So yeah, a bit of a rare variant there. And initially we're going to try and push up towards the castle location, and hopefully we can try and get into a bit of a brawl. There is 1 enemy artillery to deal with, and I think there's 1 enemy light tank on the enemy team. And yeah, hopefully we can just use our good mobility here to get into the castle quickly and then just get into a fight. We are top tier, it's tier 8 matchmaking. Like I say, it does have +1 matchmaking, so most of the time you will be in tier 8 matchmaking when you play this tank because of that PREF, which by itself makes a tank fun, just because you don't have to play against the tier 10s all the time, although this tank, like I say, probably doesn't really need it. So we pushed up quite early doors, and we've managed to get into a fight with an enemy light tank, which is good. And there's a few tanks in front of us, which is essentially what we want. We want to be getting into a brawl nice and early, so I'm pleased there are these enemy tanks here for us to try and fight here. Looking to try and get a shot into this enemy heavy tank, which we do, the Polish heavy tank. We may even squeeze in a second one, just because of the really decent reload and DPM this tank does. And now we're going to try and just get a shot into the drive wheel of the Tiger to try and keep him tracked there. We do get one into the drive wheel. I was hoping to pen the drive wheel, but we don't actually penetrate. So with a second shot, we just go for a shot into lower plate. This time we track him because he turns, which is good because it keeps him there. But we're not really getting any assistance or track assistance from our friendly team. So we're just going to essentially try and focus this tank out now. We get a couple of shots there from this enemy French heavy tank. Tiger gets away, which is a shame, but we are getting some good damage in return here. Just going to try and squeeze one into that French heavy tank on the side of the turret. Can't quite get the angle on that tank now. We need to try and move in to get closer to these targets so we can try and get some more damage out of this game. Unfortunately, our sort of crashed with my teammate there, so I'm going to try and just go round to get some shots in. I'm going to see if I can side scrape off this corner, because this tank can side scrape quite well here, and try and get some shots in. Unfortunately, my friendly tank with me has some sort of other ideas. He's just going to try and push me out there. So I'm going to have to try and move from this location to come round and get aggressive, which is fine, because I want to try and move in and kill this tiger anyway. So here's a one shot to us. Try and kill him on the move. Unfortunately, just tracks him in place. Going to wait for my reload because enemy Centurion is poking around. Looks like he's stock, I think. He's got a stock turret. Tiger gets taken out. Puts us on to about 2,000 damage, and we do have the advantage on the hit point pool and the tanks. Yeah, this enemy team are kind of getting bullied here, and it's just about just get as much damage out of this as we can. Thankfully, the Liberté is one of those tanks where you can pick up damage in a quick space of time because of the good DPM. I think the DPM in my build is about 2,900, which is nice for tier 8 heavy. Can I get the ram on this enemy tank destroyer, which is nice. Pick up the kill. I'll say this tank does ram quite nicely, and that tank just came round at the wrong time there for them and the perfect time for me. And we do pick up another kill. We're going to look to try and get some more shots in on this enemy tank on the distance, who we have spotted, and we're picking up some assistance for it. I'll say 12v5, we're not going to lose this game. You know, it'd be very unlikely that we're going to lose this game at this point. It's really about how much damage can we get out of the remaining tanks. So on 3,500 damage, just shy of 2,000 assistance, we are making a beeline across. I'm praying my team don't cap out. There is still 4 tanks remaining, and they actually are quite healthy as well. So it'd be a real shame if we do cap out. Thankfully, one of our tanks either gets off of the cap or gets reset, and that's good because that's going to give us that time to catch up and get the remaining hit points out of this game. We get put onto about 4,000 hit points. Try and get a shot on that E25 as he's moving. You can see we can squeeze one in, which we do manage to get that shot in on the move there, which is good. And yeah, got his one heavy tank to the right hand side. He does put a big double shot into us, which is a shame, but I'm just trying to kill this tank quickly because I want to just get to the rest of the damage as fast as I can. We do take him out quite nicely, and puts us on to 3 kills with 2 tanks remaining. We've got the enemy E25, and then we've got this enemy heavy tank, which is still pretty healthy in a sort of BA8 area. So we should, as long as our team don't all jump on a cap at the same time, which doesn't look like it's going to happen, we should have enough time to get to this heavy tank and pick up some more damage here. Get a nice shot in as he escapes and gets around that corner, though. We might not be able to squeeze in this shot, but we do get one in which tracks him. Unfortunately, we track him where we can't actually shoot him, but we do at least pick up some track assistance, though. That puts us on to, what, just shy of 3,000 assistance damage now. Enemy heavy tank comes around again, and we set him on fire. Burn, yes, that's nice. Picking up extra damage there. Finish him off as well for the 4th kill, and brings us an end to the video. So how did we get on in that one? Well, we picked up 4 kills, over 5,000 damage, just shy of 3,000 assistance, the ace tank and the high caliber. So we had a really nice game. And like I say, this tank is very, very capable of those games. So as always, thank you for watching. Thanks for your amazing support, and happy tanking.
Hadouken!